on my list is Mr. Richard Grounds, the Director of the UNPFII Language Project. And I give you the floor, Mr. Grounds.
Asan, saya tak elak. Ante di neche, shanle abe. Tedo shanle abe. Ko hantene de pole, aga shanle wayowa. Ente di neche, shanle. Ko hantene. Ko chatla ko wedine ha, wayowa. Akene. Go ha ha hene. Akene. Onkedi. Yujihane no. Son kene no. I'm speaking to you in our Yuchi language. I'm greeting you in the language of our elders. I'm giving you my name, Richard Grounds, from the Yuchi Nation in Oklahoma. And I'm reminding you of what our elders tell us, that our gifts, our languages, are like gifts from the Creator. Our languages have been given to us by the Creator. And that's how our elders speak. And the last comment that I gave to you was something that one of our beloved elders in the community, Mos Kawi, often said when he spoke to the Creator to begin his prayers. Yujihane no, son kene no. We Yuchi people, we're still here. I'm speaking to you in a language that's now only spoken by 5 fluent elders. Only 5 people on the planet who are first language, who grew up speaking Yuchi as their first language. And that's why it's so important, so rich, to hear our elders say, Yuchi hane no, son kene no. We're still here. But our goal, our task, is to make it so that our young people, our children coming up behind, will also be able to say, Yuchi hane no, son kene no. But I don't say this just as a way to focus on the Yuchi situation. Sadly, we are not alone. Our neighbors all around us are in very poor shape, trying to keep their languages going. The Sauk language, the Quapaw language, the proud Osage Nation, the Wichitas, the original inhabitants in what became the state of Oklahoma. Many others have literally less than 5 speakers of their language. In fact, it has become such a difficult situation. There was a report that came out back in September, a study that was done, that was carried in the New York Times, U.S. News and World Report, and other outlets that showed Oklahoma, my home state, where our people are now at, as one of the 5 worst places on the planet where languages are being lost. When I first came to the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, the first year, the first Permanent Forum, there were 27 languages that were still spoken by indigenous nations within the borders of the state of Oklahoma. Now there's only 23 instead of 27. What this loss of language does for us is helps us to get very clear about what the most critical issues are. We must be about passing the knowledge, the history, the heritage, the understanding of our communities and our ceremonies. All of this rich tradition that's carried by our languages has to be passed to the young people of the community, for they are our future. So I come here today to speak especially on behalf of these smallest languages, to call attention to those who have been subjected to generations of physical genocide, followed by cultural genocide. The primary mechanism for this loss of language was through a boarding school system in which every indigenous nation, every clan, every community, in fact, every family, every child in every family was sought out to be put into boarding school with the intended purpose, the express purpose of breaking the line of tradition in which that knowledge of the language, in which the songs that had been passed down from time immemorial, that line would be stopped. So that now we're in this very difficult situation. I give you the latest stats from K. David Harrison about the global situation on our languages. Of the 6,600 languages in the world, in the way that he has identified them, the smallest languages, 3,586 languages, are spoken. That is, well over half of the world's languages are spoken by only 0.2% of the world's population. That means less than 1% of the world's population is speaking well over half of the world's languages. Not only less than 1%, but less than 1/2 of 1%. This is the richness. This is the diversity. This is the gift that our indigenous people bring to the world. As has been already mentioned, the indigenous languages represent about 5 out of 6 languages on the planet. And so it is our task, it is our challenge to make sure that we empower indigenous communities to be able to pass that knowledge forward, to be able to get the language to the young people. I mentioned the boarding school process, which was carried out extensively in some of the now wealthiest nation states in the U.S., Canada, Australia, and other places. These systems represented the investment